Hey guys, have you remembered the time when Ariana Grande has said that I do not regret any of the decision I have taken in my life because with every choice I have made, I have learned something new. This is something which we clearly need to be understanding and putting ourselves into because it gives us a clear vision of how should we be achieving certain things into our life. Well, today here I am to be sharing a book which actually speaks about all of this and is supposed to be a mandatory read in once in your lifetime, and that is The Midnight Library by Matthaig. I am doing this video as soon as I have just watched the video by Raunaq Mangottil. I hope I pronounced his name well. So I was quite triggered to do this video and share the greatest insights Matthaig has to share from this fiction book, yet a very good self-help book. So without further ado, let's get started. Hello everyone, this is Achyut Murari. I am a medico and an Instagram poet. I talk about the books, medicine and personal development tips over this channel, so make sure you're sticking by. We do not have answers to a million questions which are actually posed towards us by the life, but we are quite sure that we have the capacity to beat it and reach the destination which we sought out and which we think into our minds. The very first quote which actually inspired me to drop down into this book was, with each decision we make, we actually enter into a new direction or a new dimension. For instance, let us take the example of the 64 squared chess, which we all are fond to play, at least because it increases your intelligence levels. With each of the moment you make either any of the piece over the board, you will be very quick in understanding that with each move you actually make in the game, you will be coming up with a newer outcome, and it will be leading to more than a million outcomes than you can actually imagine. And with each decision you and your opponent make, the whole game is changing with each decision and also entering into a new dimension. So you just cannot stick at one certain point and just stay stagnant over there. Rather, you need to be moving forward and forward. Only then can you be understanding the newer chances which life has to offer to you. This book also speaks about the same scenario, but from the perspective of Nora, who considers herself to be quite a non-appealing person, and she feels that no one in this world actually requires her or no one actually notices her. So she tries to commit a suicide. Now, trigger warnings is that this book basically starts from the very idea of suicide. So I just wanted to give you a trigger warning because some of the people may be feeling it offended, but all I wanted to is just keep up with the pace of the book. The first 3 chapters somewhere intrigue, somewhere make you feel that this is kind of not the thing I wanted to read, but later on the whole thing is about how you need to be coming out of that. And I can promise you that this book, despite a fictitious one, can be a greatest self-help book you can actually ever find from over the whole world around the bookstores. There are many non-fiction books which actually speak directly to a concept, but Matthaig has this wonderful capacity of putting characters, adding plot and a storyline, and yet again sharing with us many life insights. Now, as Nona tries to commit suicide, between the very subtle difference between the life and death, there is an existence of a library that is a fictitious one, and in that library there are in number of bookshelves and books. Each of the books she picks is not having any title. Rather, with each book she opens, she would be entering into a newer life where she could actually retake a decision. Indeed, she's actually replaying her own life, but rather she can retake a decision. That is, she is entering into another dimension. She'll be able to look into the life which she has not lived. The thought itself was stunning. I was quite gripped by the plot and the way it has been presented. Narrative, literature, vocabulary, sentence formation, everything was perfectly into this book. So for the book lovers, I need to say that if at all you want to get introduced to the world of Matthaig, who pretty much I feel is an underrated author, please proceed with the Midnight Library. I came to know about this book when it won the Golden Awards from the Goodreads for the year of 2020 from the category of fiction. I was quite gripped by this whole storyline. Now the story actually proceeds when how Nora enters into each life and how she discovers herself with each day. At the end of the story, I would reveal, this is a little spoiler maybe because it's a fiction book, she actually understands the fact that the life which she has been leading is the best one. So it gives us a clear insight that there is nothing as such regret which you need to be carrying as a baggage throughout your life. You need to be pretty clear into what you're actually taking a decision and would not be regretting that, because something which has been passed away is the past and you can never rewrite your past. Rather, think about the steps which you need to be taken into the near future, and try to construct a future which you can adore and stay a bit more happy, a bit more emotional, and think of a future which you can actually construct within your dreams, within your resources, and with all the efforts which you can put into your life. I remember me getting this book as a giveaway prize from the melodramatic bookworm, that is Sonali, and she has given me, she has shared a customized letter to me basically. So out of which I have clearly understood why a fiction reader can actually relate much of the character towards Nora, and why this book actually speaks more about the difference between life and death, and what are the instances which we need to be keeping into our mind when we proceed further. Now the question basically falls upon you, that how are you grasping this aspect within yourself? Considering putting yourself into the shoes of Nora, how would you eventually tackle with the situation which Nora would have been facing throughout this book? The situation Nora faces is she loses her parents, she stays with her distant aunt, and she has a brother who is a homosexual, and she is not able to digest that. There are many aspects which basically Matthaig has tried to put into this plot, which are stereotyped or typically not spoken into this world or the society, and Matthaig was quite sure to put all these aspects, maybe homophobia and maybe regretting our decisions, maybe suicidal thoughts and mental health. Everything of these were clearly put down into this book, and I really appreciate Matthaig for doing this, because not every author basically tries to put all these aspects within a fiction story, but somewhere and somehow Matthaig has done this greatest magic I can ever imagine of. The video by Raunaq Mangottil, coming to that aspect, I really loved how he had tried to interpret this book and try to put forward the very basic thought or the very core idea of this book, rather going for an extravagant review or many storylines or quotes from this book. Rather than he speaking many quotes or references from this book, he tried to absorb the very core content from this book, and he tried to share it with all of the people or his viewers. When I was preparing for my NEET examination, which is the entrance examination for the medical students, it is a nationwide exam, I was quite distressed because medical field is supposed to be a depressing aspect, at least that is what it is stereotyped, and the whole time when I was preparing in my grade 11 and grade 12 was kind of really suggestive that I was quite going through a mode of low, and quite a depressing aspects were happening into my life, because I was not into a position to grab or to embrace how life was going for me. I always felt that something was missing, something was not fine and not sitting into a place, which always led to me distracting from my studies and always into a position where I was lacking proper concentration upon my studies. But my parents were always there to boost my confidence up, and they were the guardian angels I can ever find. Of course, they have been right from the start till the end, and eventually I was very happy that I was into a position of success. So when in that time when I was feeling particularly low, I felt that maybe MBBS was not at all for me. I do not want to pursue the medicine at all, and I do not want to write a NEET examination, all that. If at all I would have made a choice of that, I still would have regretted that, because I feel now that medicine is my life. Medicine, books, coffee, these three things apart from my parents are my lifeline. I just cannot survive without it. Each day I go to my medical college, visit my class, listen to a lecture, take my notes. I feel the bliss of me present in that college, and me taking a decision to stay firm while I was preparing for my medical entrance examination. Now this is a trivia. I do not want to boast of, I do not want to flex that I have had a success or so. All I wanted to share is every person in their own life has their own circumstances which would ruin their expectations or their speculations or what they have expected life to come or unveil before them. Each and every person has their own story, own saga, which sometimes would be shattering you, or sometimes would be thrusting you forward for a greater tomorrow. But all you need to remember is tomorrow is gonna come, and you just cannot erase the past. You just cannot sit for a whole day and regret what has happened yesterday just to waste your today. You just have. So all I wanted to share is a little bit of positivity, more and more power to you, and more and more constant mental motivation, which I think this book would be giving you. I also want to share with the fact that this book is not a quite long one. It's just having 280 pages. You can almost read this book in about 2 days. It took me about a week to basically finish this book off, because I was basically reading this book during my commute to my college in my metro. Because of this actually very short length of this book and easy-go-lucky way of presenting plot and very gripping aspects of literature by Matthaig, I feel that you would be really blessed to pick this book up. So I will be back with another bookish, medical or personal development video. Till then, take care, stay safe, and keep watching my videos. Bye bye.